A disastrous new report shows yet another negative consequence of stripping women, non-binary, and trans men of their reproductive rights. Since Dobbs v. Jackson had overturned Roe v. Wade last year, a lot of red states have passed some pretty draconian laws limiting abortion rights. Now, that of course has had a chilling effect on doctors. That has led to a lot of confusion about treating things like, for example, ectopic pregnancies, whether or not they can actually intervene to save the mother's life in certain circumstances, because, it might be viewed as an abortion, which would then allow the doctor to be punished through the law. So there's a lot of ambiguity on those issues. The laws in place in these states have not exactly helped. In fact, these laws have hurt. Even the clarifications have not helped. And so there's a lot of negative impacts from this ruling and these laws passed by the states. Pregnant people have nearly died as a result of this, and millions continue to be at risk. Now, all of that, of course, is, to basically say, we told you so. We told you that this was going to happen. There's going to be a lot of negative impacts from the Dobbs decision, from overturning, reproductive rights in this country. There's another one that not a lot of people were expecting. And actually, this has to do with an increase in something called reproductive coercion. So I'm going to explain what that is. Basically, reproductive coercion is described as a form of domestic violence in which an abuser attempts to control their partner's body and reproductive agency, according to PBS NewsHour. Reproductive coercion involves things like hiding a partner's birth control or sabotaging their contraception. So I guess one example would be poking holes in condoms, or stealthing, where you basically initiate sexual activity with the condom and then mid-sexual activity, pull it, take it out, or take it off, I should say, and put it somewhere, or hide someone's birth control pills, or replace birth control pills with placebo pills, all these things. Okay, so that would be reproductive coercion. That is, of course, a big problem in any relationship. So now, add that into places where they have passed these massive draconian abortion bans. You can see how these two things together are even more devastating. An abuser can essentially control your body and force you into a pregnancy that you did not consent to, but you will be forced to carry to term in these states. So that's horrifying. And again, all of this adds together to make it even more dangerous for women, non-binary folks, and trans men who still, have a uterus. Okay, so now, since the Supreme Court decision, instances of reproductive coercion have increased. According to the National Domestic Violence Hotline, they have seen a 100% increase in calls over this issue in reproductive coercion. Wow. So that is just, again, horrible. Hey, right-wingers, pro-life people, is this one thing that you wanted? Is this what you wanted for people who, again, didn't want to get pregnant, having abusive partners that have decided, we're just going to, pull a fast one on you and get rid of your contraception. And, I can control my partner's body that way. I don't know, maybe it is what they wanted. Maybe. Again, it means these men, and let's be clear, it's mostly men. I'm sure there are a couple of instances where, a female partner might want a child, whereas a male partner might not, or might not be ready for it. And that could happen. But I'm going to guess that it's mostly men who want to control a female partner who might not be ready for children. So I'm going to, again, assume that these men will take this opportunity to control their partners like the good old days where women had little control over their reproductive rights. This is back in the days where they didn't even have birth control. And now, of course, no access to abortion services, but still have birth control. So I guess they're just going to go and sabotage it themselves to ensure that these women folk stay in their place, right? Now, alongside the increase in these reports, PBS also noted that the hotline is now receiving upwards of 3,000 calls per day, the highest volume they've seen since its founding in 1996. So, I mean, there's been just a gigantic increase in abuse, sexual violence, domestic violence. And again, it's, related to women losing reproductive freedom, pregnant people losing their reproductive freedom. In 2022 alone, only the last 6 months of which were impacted by the Dobbs decision, the hotline actually received 27,350 reports of sexual abuse, which includes refusal to use contraception, which is an increase from 2021 when the hotline received 21,093 reports of sexual abuse. So an increase by over 6,000 instances, and that's just over 6 months. Jesus. So again, men, right-wing men, maybe, people who want the trad wives or want some sort of control, saw Dobbs as an opportunity. Hey, look, we're going to abuse women even further. You're going to be forced to stay with me now because I'm making you have my baby. You can't go get an abortion now. Ha ha. Again, absolutely horrific. Definitely anti-choice and anti-freedom. This is another example of the far right trying to turn this country into what is essentially Handmaid's Tale. And they've got the Supreme Court to thank for this.